Furiosa lives in a hidden paradise with her people, surrounded by a hot, dry desert. One sunny day, she and her friend head out to pick fruit. Out of nowhere, the friend spots scary strangers in the woods. She sneaks close to their motorcycles and messes up one of them. But when she tries to do the same to another, she gets caught. Furiosa blows a special whistle to warn everyone of danger and runs for it. Sadly, she gets grabbed and taken away. Luckily, everyone hears the whistle and rushes to help. Her mom, Mary, grabs a weapon, jumps on a horse, and chases after the bad guys. Mary follows them for ages, finally catching up to the slowest one. They fight, and Mary wins. She takes his motorcycle and keeps chasing. Soon, another bad guy's motorcycle breaks down. Two others stop to check for followers. While they're busy, Furiosa secretly chews through a hose on their motorcycle. The bad guys don't notice and zoom off when they see Mary coming. Meanwhile, Mary finds the broken motorcycle and takes it for herself. As night falls, the bad guys stop again to check their bikes. They realize Mary is close behind. They argue about leaving the friend behind, but decide keeping her will make them more important. While they argue, Furiosa breaks free and runs, but the bad guys catch her again. The next morning, Mary sees the bad guys through a special tool. She wants to shoot one, but it's too risky because they're near their hideout. She shoots anyway, but the other bad guy holds Furiosa close, so she can't shoot him. The remaining bad guy takes Furiosa to their leader's place. Mary follows them secretly. On the way, Furiosa fights back and stops the bad guy from telling their leader about the hidden paradise. The leader tries to scare Furiosa, but she's tough and doesn't talk. The bad guy then pretends to be nice, promising to send her home. Meanwhile, Mary dresses up like the bad guy she shot and heads to the leader's place. Furiosa gets taken to a tent to get cleaned up. The person cleaning gets scared of Mary's disguise and begs for mercy. Mary lets them go, but someone sees them leaving and tells on them. A motorcycle chase starts as the bad guys follow Mary and Furiosa. Mary knows they can't escape together, so she tells Furiosa to keep riding away. As a parting gift, Mary gives Furiosa a peach seed and asks her to plant it and protect the Greenlands. Furiosa rides away but stops to watch her mother fight Dementus's hordes. Mary fights bravely but gets captured. Crying, Furiosa runs to her and sees Dementus's men brutally kill her mother. Dementus promises to release both if Furiosa shows the way to the oasis, but she only cries. Dementus locks her in a cage and forces her to watch his bloody competitions. He tries to appease her by giving her his favorite tech bear. His history specialist offers to teach her to read and write, suggesting she could become a historian, but she plans to escape to the Greenlands, tattooing the path on her arm. One day, Dementus and his horde, searching for the place of abundance, meet a strange warrior from the citadel. Dementus thinks this is the land they seek and heads there. Soon they reach the impregnable fortress guarded by Immortan Joe's army. Dementus delivers a fiery speech to rally the common people. The citadel's leader offers to choose one of his warriors to start the battle. Dementus's servant points to one of Immortan Joe's soldiers, who jumps into the midst of the biker warriors and detonates himself, taking many enemies with him. The battle begins. Immortan Joe's men capture Dementus's motorcycles and cars with hooked chains, lifting them into the air. They do this with Furiosa's cage as well, but the history specialist latches onto the cage, and Dementus himself comes to help. They free Furiosa and flee. Later, Dementus rebuilds his horde and plans to capture one of Immortan Joe's military bases, Gastown. He stops a fuel tanker headed for the town and disguises his people as Citadel warriors. They enter the town, and the guards open the gates. Dementus's men capture Gastown and demand supplies from Immortan Joe. They display the head of Gastown's leader and threaten more violence if Joe does not meet their demands. Realizing he cannot defeat the bikers outright, Joe agrees to consider their demands but notices Furiosa in the crowd. Seeing his interest, Dementus claims Furiosa is his daughter. For the first time in a long while, Furiosa speaks and accuses Dementus of killing her mother. Eventually, Immortan Joe allows Dementus to rule Gastown, promising to supply the bikers with food and water in exchange for Furiosa and the biker gang's mechanic. Angered, Dementus takes the teddy bear from Furiosa. She is taken to a room where Immortan Joe's women rest. One of Joe's wives just had a baby, and guess what? Another mutant. Furiosa watches this whole thing happen. Then a warrior named Russ spots the bells in her hair. Thinking she likes him, big mistake. Furiosa cuts her hair off and makes a wig with the bells. Later that night, Russ takes her to his room to check her out. He finds the tattoo leading home on her arm, but then gets distracted by the jingling wig and starts petting it. Furiosa is like, nope, throws the wig at him, and escapes. Fast forward, Furiosa cons her way into a crane crew. Everyone thinks she's a fearless mute boy who lost his voice in a war. They have no idea she's a total girl, just a tough one who doesn't talk. One guy, Russ, sees her eyes and has a moment of recognition, but the moment is lost as they start building a super-armored truck to survive the crazy wasteland raiders. Furiosa, ever the planner, hides a motorcycle and supplies under the main truck, ready to make a break for it. On a trip to the fuel farm, raiders attack the truck. They're using Dementis's bad gas. What a bunch of jerks. The guards fight back while the truck keeps moving, which is pretty impressive. These raiders are hardcore. They even use parachutes to try and hijack the vehicles. Furiosa uses the chaos to climb under the truck and free her motorcycle. A mechanic dude also climbs down to fix something, falls, but manages to toss Furiosa a spare part just in case. One raider gets close and sticks a bomb on the truck's belly. Furiosa, risking her life, fixes the brakes and saves the whole truck. The raiders won't give up though, and the driver is doing his best to outrun them, but they're losing guards fast. Furiosa climbs onto the hood, and guess what? Her helmet falls off, revealing she's a girl. The driver, Praetorian Jack, is totally shocked. Furiosa jumps in the cab, and they fight off the last few raiders together. In the end, everyone's dead except Jack, Furiosa, and a mutant who sacrifices himself by throwing spiky balls at a flying car. R.I.P. mutant dude. Furiosa tries to kill Jack, but he throws her off the truck. Harsh move, Jack. But then, he comes back and offers to team up with her, impressed by her bravery. Furiosa becomes his deputy, officially a Praetorian, whatever that means. Meanwhile, Dementis is running Gas Town into the ground, making everyone super unhappy. Jack sees his chance and offers Furiosa everything she needs to escape. Looks like they're about to hit the road again. They make another trip and find chaos that Dementis fails to control. Realizing he cannot succeed, Dementis calls a council at the Citadel and orders the truck to leave the supplies behind. When Immortan Joe learns of this, he becomes enraged and orders Furiosa and Jack to collect weapons and ammunition in Lead Town. That evening, Jack tells Furiosa he wants to help her because he still remembers his parents. She shows him the star map on her arm and offers to leave with him. During their last trip, Jack tells the crew to load the tanker with everything necessary and has Furiosa drive the escort vehicle. When they arrive in Lead Town, they fall into an ambush. Jack signals Furiosa to flee while he leads the enemy away, but driven by revenge, she opens fire with a sniper rifle, trying to kill Dementis. The biker leader fires a grenade launcher at her. Jack, thinking she is dead, destroys the tower where Dementis is hiding. Hanging on the edge, Dementis sees Furiosa saving Jack from the abyss where the truck fell, and they drive away on a motorcycle. The pair reach their vehicle outside the gates and drive off, but Dementis survives and gives chase. On the way, Furiosa tells Jack the route to the place of abundance. Meanwhile, Dementis's men catch up with them. Jack tries to stop the pursuers by firing a rifle, but their vehicle is forced off the road. Furiosa and Jack are dragged out, and Dementis, in rage, orders both to be killed, but Jack must die first. Furiosa is chained and forced to watch as they torment her friend. As evening falls, Dementis sees a hand hanging from a chain with a star map. Furiosa has cut off her own arm and is now riding away on a stolen motorcycle. With her last strength, she reaches the Citadel and is taken to Joe. She recounts everything that happened and helps plan the war against Dementis. Through trickery, they convince Dementis that the warriors have left the Citadel for Gas Town, and the horde rushes to the fortress where most of the bikers perish. In the meantime, Furiosa shaves her head, replaces her hand with a mechanical prosthesis, and prepares for battle. She seizes a vehicle the Praetorians prepared for pursuing Dementis and sets off alone. Meanwhile, Dementis and a few loyal followers try to flee, but Furiosa catches up with him in the desert. Dementis, desperate to escape Furiosa's pursuit, orders his men to scatter in various directions. But Furiosa, with unwavering determination, follows his trail, eliminating his helpers one by one. Finally, after a relentless chase, she corners Dementis in the wasteland. He feigns surrender, but taunts her with the futility of revenge, claiming it won't mend the wounds of her loss. Furiosa, fueled by anger, chains him up and confronts him about her murdered mother. Dementis, in a surprising turn, reveals his own tragic past, his wife and children taken from him. He reminds her that revenge won't bring back loved ones and boasts of his high pain tolerance. Blinded by rage, Furiosa lashes out, but a seed of doubt is planted. Dementus's words echo in her mind. As he loses consciousness, she takes his teddy bear, a strange trophy. Dementus, regaining some awareness, finally recognizes her and proposes an alliance to conquer the wasteland. However, Furiosa rejects him, discarding the childish toy. The story takes a grim turn as the narrator reveals Furiosa's fate for Dementus. He's imprisoned in the Citadel, his body used as a morbid fertilizer to nourish a peach tree grown from her mother's seeds. A twisted form of justice, perhaps, but Furiosa's path takes a hopeful turn. She receives a new truck and becomes the unlikely savior for 5 of Immortan Joe's wives yearning for freedom.